Alright, so here we are. Hear me out. I just dragged this thing out of my storage that I had up in North Reading, dropped it into the house just to stop paying storage on it. Then started getting the itch, and there is a vintage drag racing event going on up in Maine called the Northeast Vintage Drags, and that is on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, I think, of this month, and today is the 7th. I got the itch to see if I can make that thing race ready. And basically I need to do motor tranny, drive shaft, some sort of exhaust, rear end, fuel system, brake pedals, clutch pedals, all that jazz, radiator coolant system, seats, electrical system, just enough to make it run and drive, and everything. So basically, this thing, I covered some of this in a previous video, but this will probably be the kind of start video. So sorry if you guys saw the other one and I'm repeating myself. But that thing, I dragged that out of a junkyard out in the western part of the state, and it was on a totally rotted chassis and terrible shape, missing a ton of parts. I've gathered some parts, bolted it together loosely, and I had bought an S10 pickup to put the chassis under this. Just before we closed up the shop, I just did a quickie chassis swap on it just to make it one car that's rollable rather than one that's rollable and one that was a slug. So none of that was finalized, rough steering column thrown in it and whatnot. Still has the S10 V6 in it and transmission, so all that's going to come out. And yeah, so I'm going to make an attempt at this. There's a very, very, very solid chance that I'm going to fail. Had a huge beak crash into my arm. Yep, but there's a solid chance I'm going to fail. But either way, I've been working on this disaster since December 1st, and it is May 7th right now. And I'm a car guy, I'm not a carpenter, and not a clean out person or anything like that. So I'm going to scratch the itch. I'm going to play with this for a couple of weeks and just see what we can do. And worst case scenario, it's that much closer for later on for a different event or whatever. So let's see if I can do it. Follow along. I'll try and document it as good as I can, post up some videos and whatnot. But wish me luck. I'm gonna need it because I don't have all the parts. I have a lot of the parts. There's a lot of stuff I still got to source, find, buy, order, get delivered, and all kinds of stuff to try and make it. So let's see what's gonna happen here. And I'll do a quick walk around real quick. So initially I was planning on trying to do it here. I have like next to no tools out here, and I was gonna just make it down and dirty. As you can see, there's all water in the garage from all the rain we've been having. That's that side of the garage. And this side leaks also. There's holes up there on this side too. Pretty terrible environment, but initially I was gonna attempt to do it here. So this is what it is. It's just sitting here rolling on a chassis with a rough steering column, and there's the 2001 S10 4.3 sitting in it, and the 4L60 tranny back there and whatnot. So it's just down and dirty. I blew a hole in the firewall, stuffed a random steering column I had in there, and as you can see, the motor's way too far forward anyway. So this all has to come out. Might have to cut up the firewall, transmission tunnel, all of that. And like, I don't even have a part of the hood latch to keep the hood totally latched. And she is in rough shape. The rockers are gone. Let me see if I can get down beside it here. Yeah, so that's the interior. You can see those bulges, those are all mouse nests. I'm gonna have to rip those down. That dash came out of a different car and I just kind of set it in there. And yeah, there's no brake pedals, clutch pedals, nothing. And as you can see, the rock is gone, part of the floor is gone, and all that jazz. And these rear fenders are just flapping in the breeze. They're rotted off. I have another pair. They're pretty terrible also. And one of the big elephants in the room is the trunk lid is missing. So That was more stuff falling out of the roof all over it. So yeah, I'm gonna work on getting it out into the driveway today. I'm gonna see if I can pluck this motor and tranny with the basic hand tools I have here today and leave it here in the scrap pile, because I got a huge scrap pile for somebody else to take. So rather than drag this to my brother's house and have to get rid of it there, I'll see if I can get it out here, use the tractor, hand tools, and get that thing out of here. And I have the U-Haul trailer out there again. Same one I used to bring it here. Now it's going to be used to bring it out of here. So, yeah, this trunk lid, it's a super oddball. It's pretty incredibly rare around these parts because this is a Fleetline Aero sedan 2-door, and it's a very specific trunk. So I know where there's an Oldsmobile version of this, or there was about a year ago, middle of the state, that had a trunk lid that was pretty compromised, but it was there. So worst case scenario, I can go get that probably pretty cheap, bolted on. I believe the Oldsmobile one fits also, but we'll see. That'll be further down the road. I'll get the motor in it, tranny in it, and kind of focus on the drivetrain and make it so it'll do a burnout at least. And then I'll start focusing on swapping out the rear fenders, welding stuff on, structurally making the body sound, and chasing the trunk lid and all that. So I know this is a pretty long intro, but this is I'll kind of make this the first one on it as far as like YouTube and stuff like that. So let's see what we do here. And again, wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. All right, making progress. Got exhaust manifolds off and the motor mounts out, and I'm going to work on all the accessories because I want to hold on to those because worst case scenario, those will work on a conventional small block. For the event I'm going to, I'd rather be running V-belts, not a serpentine, but something's better than nothing. If this is there and I'm down to the wire, that's what I'm going to use. So yeah, so I took off the exhaust manifolds to be able to get to the motor mount bolts easier. So I got those out, and on both sides, cut the exhaust pipes and took the AC off, the AC compressor off, so I can get to the bolts down here a little bit easier, just because how tucked in this is. So we'll keep picking away. I've always been curious how heavy the front end of the tractor is. What is it? Is it the perfect counterweight, or am I that strong? You all know I'm not that strong. Well, that was pretty much the tractor at its max. As you can tell, like I could lift the front wheels off the ground. So motor's out, off motor and tranny. It's here in the scrap metal pile for the guy that's going to take all of this. And then there you go. She's empty. Left the power steering attached so it's not leaking. That might go on the other motor anyway. So yeah, it's a start. And sway bar bushings are all blown out. So I'm gonna do a little cleanup. I'll probably just strap the hood on with some ratchet straps, and then work on emptying the inside, clean it out, make sure there's no mice in it, and then get it dragged on the trailer, and then start heading north. Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to ripping apart the interior right now. It's already getting late in the day, but gotta do it. I'm wrestling trying to figure out the seat. I can see some of the bolts, but I can also see the edge of a bunch of other bolts, and I'm like, you can't get there, and like can't see how the whole side of the seat comes off, like that bottom trim piece and whatnot, and the seat tracks won't move, they're just seized up. So I was wrestling around. I was like, you know what, let me just Google it. So I Google it. That whole cushion, you literally tip up the front of it, slide the cushion out, and you just come straight down on all the bolts. Sometimes you just gotta stop, ask the Google. And this is why old cars, like, you always look for bulges in the headliners, because I just pulled down tons of it. But here's some of it here. That's a full-on rat's nest. Just all mouse poop and pee and everything all up in the ledges, over the windows, up over the sides. You can see I pulled another one here. And even this insulation up here, they get up above it and chew their way through it. So all this stuff has to come out. Like, even if it looks mediocre, okay, like you see any bulges, you'll never get the smell out unless you rip the whole thing out. Well, that's it. Everything's gutted. The only thing I didn't take out is the little, like, side panels, because I don't have the clip removal tool for the window crank here, so I don't want to wrestle with that. And I got a big enough opening where I know there's nothing behind it. Yeah, so that little panel there. But like I said, I can see that there's nothing in there. Look at the size of this Bumblebee bee. Yeah, headline's all down, all the nests are out, seats are all out, everything's out of there. And I knew most of this rot was here. I knew I had to do all this. A little bit of this is a surprise. And then like the back corner there and the same over here. A little bit of a surprise, not the end of the world. But overall, for a car that sat in the junkyard with no rear end in it for God knows 50 years or something, it was just sitting in the dirt, and somehow a lot of the floor is good. All right, well, now I'm gonna wrestle it onto the trailer, and then I'm gonna clean. Whoops. I might take all the seat frames and everything, just stack them in the garage for right now, because worst case scenario, if I needed to like just kind of throw this thing together, or if I give up on it to sell it, those seat frames are still valuable to somebody, because all the structure of them is still good. So they could strip them down, have them rewrapped and all that stuff, and they'd be good. So I will throw those inside the garage for now. And yeah, so I'm gonna get this on, and I'm just gonna shove all this stuff in the garage for right now and deal with it later, because I'm gonna lose the sun soon. I gotta get this loaded up, get all the way north, get it safely off and safely into Colby's garage. Okay. $11 at night. The car wash, cleaning off the frame, giving the thing a dust off and whatnot. And head home. A concert going over there.